The outside world is rapidly changing around us as we live through the global COVID-19 health crisis. We've been staying inside our homes for quite some time, and for many, the novelty is starting to wear off. In its place, friction and fighting are unwanted guests in the family home. Parenting in a Pandemic expert Professor Matt Sanders is back to answer your questions and give you the tools to diffuse conflict in your household. By the end of this episode, you'll have practical strategies to avoid family feuds between parents, children and young people, so your family can navigate this time as calmly and kindly as possible.
With all the kids being at home all day, every day, and me being stay-at-home, stuck-at-home dad, we've had some interesting dynamics. In some respects, we're a lot closer than we were before because we spend so much time together. On another, we're definitely getting on each other's nerves. So that the challenge is to strike that balance between being together and having our own time. And I feel that we're getting there, but it's certainly been an interesting process.
In our household, it feels like a bit of war zone all the time, and everybody is pretty irritable, I have to say, because we have never been home that much before, and we have literally had no time apart at all.
I'm always arguing with my teenagers about doing their schoolwork.
Well, why is family conflict occurring more often right now? With families spending so much more time together and living and working in much closer proximity than usual and for longer periods of time, many parents are feeling that there is greater tension and conflict in the home than usual. Certainly there is increased opportunities for conflict because of the amount of time people are spending together. There's a great deal of stress in people's lives right now. People are worried about their finances. They're worried about managing work and balancing the responsibilities that come with homeschooling. And many parents are feeling on edge, feeling irritable, and they find themselves getting bothered by things that maybe in the past wouldn't have been such an issue. We also have just less opportunity to get our own needs met in terms of regular exercise, perhaps participating in sport, having a break from kids. And we're not able to talk to others in confidence in a way that we might have been used to. There's probably never been a more important time to share the parenting load than right now. And of course, everyone needs a break from the constancy of the supervision of children. So there's a lot going on in people's lives that can lead to this increased stress and irritability. And it means really that a lot of us have a much shorter fuse than usual. Now, to help things keep calm, I think one of the most important things to focus on is our own communication. Ask the question, am I setting the right kind of example for my kids? Am I speaking to them in a civil, pleasant, calm way and being respectful towards them? Tune into your own voice and how you're coming across. Particularly ask the question, am I speaking calmly and in a kindly way? So I'm trying to avoid accusing, blaming, shaming. So the idea is to tune into your thoughts, tune into what you're saying to yourself about a situation. Catch thoughts that make you feel angry, such as, he's doing that deliberately to annoy me. And try to think of more positive, realistic thoughts to help you stay calmer. You might say, no, he's only 3. I really need to teach him to use a pleasant voice if he wants something from me. Another challenge for us right now is to tune into what we call the escalation trap. This is a situation where a parent wants a child to do something. They ask them to do it, and the child refuses or just doesn't cooperate. The parent then repeats the direction or instruction, but this time they raise their voice. They've got that irritable, annoyed, angry tone. And if the child is still refusing, the parent may escalate further by shouting or even threatening some consequence for the child if they don't cooperate. And right when the parent is at their worst, when they're angry and ready to explode, what happens? The child cooperates. Now, it's a trap because children are accidentally rewarding us for having shouted at them, having escalated in the face of their resistance. So the next time we want kids to do something, a parent in an escalation trap is more likely to quickly resort to raising their voice and threatening. The key is when you ask a second time to not escalate the temperature, to try to keep firm, calm and consistent. You certainly may need to follow through, but without the escalation in voice.
Our kids usually get along pretty well, but since lockdown they've been fighting non-stop with me about everything I ask them to do and niggling each other.
I realize that I have short fuse at the moment, and I tend to raise my voice to my boy, then feel bad about it as well, because he's very little and he just doesn't know what he's doing.
My 16-year-old son is angry about having to stay home, and he's picking lots of fights with his younger siblings. I feel like I have to intervene all the time.
Remember, this is a stressful and unsettling time for kids as well. If you think about the idea of having an engaging, interesting environment for children where there are plenty of age-appropriate things to do, when children are busy, they're less likely to be bored and anxious or sad and to get into trouble. The idea is to work together with your children to create a list of at least 20 activities that you can put on the fridge, and make sure that you include physical activities and activities that are not just variations of screen time. Too much screen time can make children irritable when they have to stop, and there are many kids who go into meltdown when parents say it's time to turn off the TV or to put away the iPad or the screen. I think the important thing also is to help children express their feelings in a positive but non-hurtful way. Sometimes kids can act out because they just don't know how to ask for something or to explain what they're feeling in a way that's appropriate. You can ask them to stop and to try again and to ask in a different way, and so that they can practice the skills of sharing and turn-taking and being caring towards their siblings in a family situation. But they need to practice these skills, and when they start to get it right, make sure they get plenty of praise and encouragement for it.
How do we manage our young adult children who've just moved back from college? They're not kids anymore, and we'd like them to contribute, not just go back to mum and dad doing everything for them.
It can be really hard for young people who've been living away from home when they have to move back in. Often they can go back into the old ways of sort of being like a teenager or a younger child and expecting their parents to step up to the plate and do everything for them, like their washing and cleaning and cooking, when in fact they're quite capable of contributing and being independent. So it's important with young adults when they're returning home to renegotiate household responsibilities. It's not a hotel, and children in this situation need to expect to have a responsibility to contribute to the smooth running of the household. But we need to treat them like adults too, and invite their opinion, and be prepared to negotiate what are reasonable and fair expectations that you have of them.
My partner and I are getting grumpy and a bit snappy with each other. Is that a problem for the kids?
I think we've really got to think about our partners too. Things are getting a bit tense in my house now that we're home all the time. There's no more date night, no couple time. It just seems we're working all the time.
My girlfriend and I are not getting on so well. We disagree about how to handle the kids and end up arguing about stupid things.
I think the important thing about our relationship with partners is that the key to getting through this very challenging situation is to work as a team. Children are learning a lot by watching how we as parents talk to each other, particularly if there is a problem. So when we're working on a problem, try to speak civilly and pleasantly to each other and calmly so that you can work through the steps of trying to solve a problem. If children witness parents being successful at problem solving, there is one thing that is being conveyed to them, and that is problems have solutions and that people are expected to contribute to them. So develop a shared plan about how to deal with situations. Then if your partner is dealing with the children, let them do it. Don't simply step in or interfere or undermine their authority or their responsibility that they're taking with the children. I think it's very important for couples in these times to take turns with household chores and childcare responsibilities so both can have time to work and also some time to yourself. Everyone needs a bit of a break from parenting responsibilities. And not only to work as a team, but also to take care of your couple relationship. It's easy to neglect our partners when we're under stress. So try to build in some couple time, some special time where you are looking after each other and showing the caring and loving kind of behaviour towards your partner. Because it's really important at times like this that people know that they're valued and appreciated and just not being taken for granted. We can all make the most of this opportunity for family time, but we need to be aware of the stresses and worries of others around us. So talk to your kids about what they're grateful for in the family, because when you're only talking about worries and you're not tuning your kids into the good things that are happening at the moment, then children are more likely to want to talk about the things that distress them and worry them. So help them do the small things to help each other. It will make them feel good and they'll learn to think about others' needs and not just about themselves. It's about being caring and supportive of lots of people around us at this very difficult time.
To recap, you can avoid family feuds in these trying times. Here are some key things to remember. Tip number 1, take notice of the situations and thoughts that trigger your own negative emotions and try to be compassionate to yourself and speak calmly to others. Tip number 2, have plenty of activities handy to keep your kids entertained. Take notice of behaviour you like and offer praise and encouragement. Tip number 3, renegotiate household responsibilities with your older children. It shouldn't all fall on mum and dad. Tip number 4, if you have a partner, don't forget to have quality time together and let them know you care. Thanks for listening to Parenting in a Pandemic. If you're enjoying this podcast, make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to leave a review. It'll help others to find this series. You can find free COVID-19 Parenting in a Pandemic resources in the episode show notes to help you on this journey.